We have one more value unit.
Yes, we do. And that is learning unit 5. And like I was telling the guys earlier, I want us to finish today in terms of content. And then the remaining sessions that we have, I'm going to keep for consultation. So if you feel like you want to, because I'm just looking at it from the perspective, you guys are 30 years now. And so I think, this is now crunch time. So I think you guys need to just go and really make sure that you get this thing done. So I don't want to drag this thing out any further. But yeah, I will be in the venue as per the timetable during our sessions. But yeah, today we're wrapping it up from a content perspective, and anybody wants to come see, more than welcome. Okay, right. So here we're now looking at knowledge issues, trends, assessments, evaluation for the organization. Okay, factors influencing knowledge management. That's the first theme. That's the first theme. So factors influencing knowledge management. So you've got two theories or two views. You've got the universalistic view, okay, which basically says there is one solution to all knowledge management problems, okay? One single best approach to managing knowledge management. That's what they're basically saying. Then the second view is your contingency theory, which is more practical. Okay? And what it says is no one approach is best under all circumstances. All right? To success. It includes multiple alternative paths with success achieved only when the appropriate path is selected. So here we're basically saying you cannot say we have one approach when it comes to knowledge management that will solve all knowledge management challenges, because businesses are different. And because of businesses being different, the context of the business is obviously going to be not the same. So this is why I said the contingency theory is more practical. So here it says, whereas the universalistic view focuses on identifying a single path to successful performance, a contingency theory considers the path to success to include multiple alternative paths, with success being achieved only when the appropriate path is selected. Okay? So here, basically with the contingency, we're saying it depends, right? It depends on the context of the business, and we'll see various factors that influence the context of the business. We need to understand that the specific circumstances within the organization and the ones surrounding it in order to identify the knowledge management solution that would most benefit, most beneficial for those circumstances. Okay, right. Then figure 11.1 in your textbook is a good one to refer to, but I think we have it in the slide somewhere. Okay, and then they're just saying in reality there is no single universal knowledge management solution that works for all solutions. Okay, which is what I've just been reiterating. Then if you can turn to your textbooks, page 272. There you've got your contingency factors. Okay, this is the image for for figure 11.1. Okay, here you're just seeing, okay, you've got your knowledge management processes, knowledge management systems, and here you've got your contingency factors, which is basically looking at the context of the business. Okay, and all of this obviously plays a role in creating your knowledge management solution. Okay, this is figure 11.2, okay, and this is speaking to the contingency factors. Okay, so without even having to speak to the content there, you obviously have your knowledge management solution, which is in gray, and then these are the factors. So you're talking about the environmental characteristics of the business, the organizational characteristics, the task characteristics, and then knowledge characteristics. Okay? So all of these will influence the knowledge management solution that is most appropriate and that which is going to be applied for the business to be successful from a knowledge management perspective. Then here it says, in general, the contingency factors affect the suitability of knowledge management processes in two ways: by increasing or reducing the need to manage knowledge in a particular way. Okay? So, we're basically saying that our environment, our organization, the tasks, they are going to either make us increase or reduce the need to manage the actual knowledge. Okay? And then secondly, they will also increase or reduce the organization's ability, the actual ability, how effectively we can actually manage knowledge in a particular way. Okay? So those are the key things they're being spoken about. Now here, they're now talking to task characteristics. And the two factors that influence your task characteristics is task uncertainty and task interdependence. Interdependence. Okay. Right. Ish. Okay. Right. So here, task characteristics. Okay, so we're speaking to uncertainty and interdependence. But within that, when looking at the tasks, we need to look at the difficulty, all right, or on the problems in analyzing the work and stating the performance procedures, okay, because that will influence the level of uncertainty and the interdependence. Then task variability, the variety of problems encountered in the tasks. This speaks primarily to interdependence. Okay, but we'll get there. We'll get there. And you will see why this task uncertainty and task interdependence, how it influences our knowledge management process or approach. Yes. So task uncertainty reduces the organization's ability to develop routines. Think about it, guys. Why would task uncertainty influence our ability to develop routines? Why? How? If we know that at 8 o'clock in the morning, this is exactly what we need to do. We need to switch on all the lights to the campus. How does that influence our knowledge management? If we know exactly what we need to do, how does that help us in being able to make a routine?
Say that again, sir.
If we know exactly what we need to do, right? Or if the task is not going to change at all, how does that reduce our ability, or sorry, increase our ability to develop a routine?
I mean, it's a constant.
It's a constant, yes?
But you also don't have to focus on anything else but the current task in those specific times that you're working on. So there's like time management.
Time management, okay. But the key thing that you highlighted is that it's a constant. So because something is a constant, it makes it easier for us, right? Here it says, where uncertainty is high, externalization and internalization would be a would be costly due to changing problems and tasks. Okay, so you see, the knowledge that we are going to share pertaining to something that's constant is going to be easy because the knowledge is going to be the same, because the task is the same. But the moment that the tasks start changing, that means that we now need to use things like knowledge discovery, because we're going to need new information to improve our performance with the relevant task. Does that make sense? But when the task is certain and it's constant, we can then just focus on knowledge sharing. Does that make sense? Because we know this thing hasn't changed and chances are someone has already done it. So we're just sharing that information to help others who maybe are new to it. So you see, that's the context that we are obviously speaking in. Okay? Right. Okay. Right. So here they're going on routines. When uncertainty is low, routines can be developed for the knowledge supporting them. Benefits from externalizing and internalizing knowledge relate to any specific task trends to accumulate through the greater occurrence of the task. Therefore, routines, exchange, combination, internalization, externalization are recommended. Okay, right. So you guys, we did speak about combination. We have spoken about internalization and externalization as well. So you guys can just go back to that. Then task interdependence, right? So here basically all we're talking to is if the task requires different parties or units or individuals to participate or to complete certain things, that's when it's now becoming interdependent, okay? The more interdependent, let's see what they're saying. Indicates the extent to which the subunit's achievements of its goals depend on the efforts of other subunits. Okay? Tasks often require deep knowledge in one particular area. Learning processes tend to be personal and individualized. All right? Internalized through observation, externalized through analogies. Is that right? Am I reading that right? Sorry, I'm blind today. Then internalization and externalization are thus fundamental to knowledge management in an interdependent task domain. Okay, so here now you're seeing how, well, the recommended knowledge management processes, depending on whether we have high or low task uncertainty, depending on whether we have high or low task interdependence. Okay, so guys, I think make sure that you're able to interpret these diagrams, okay, for learning unit 5. They will definitely be assessing you guys on this. Remember, they haven't had the opportunity to ask you this content in your assignment 1 and your assignment 2. So make sure that you have a look at those tables, are able to interpret and explain them. Okay. So here now they're just talking about the effects of knowledge characteristics. All right. And here the key thing that they're just highlighting is the underlying contingency argument is that certain knowledge management processes may have greater impact in the value that one type of knowledge contributes to the organization, while some other knowledge management processes might affect the value of another type of knowledge. Okay, so the whole concept here is that, for instance, knowledge discovery might impact your knowledge capture. Is it in a good way? Does it take away from the desired effect? Or is it better to just have only knowledge capturing for your specific knowledge solution. Okay. So again, these are things that you can obviously read up on. So there you can see effect of knowledge characteristics on knowledge management processes. Okay. Right. Okay. Effects of the organizational and environmental characteristics. So remember, we're still talking about the characteristics and how they then influence our knowledge management solution. Remember, these are the contingency factors. So we're looking now at your environmental and organizational. So obviously, the size of the organization is going to influence our solution. If we have lots of staff members, how do we ensure that we have a solution that all of them are able to share knowledge, all of them are able to access the knowledge, etc., etc. The smaller the team, the easier that is. We might even say, no, you know what, we don't need to have a online system. Since we're such a small team, we're all in one room like this, then let's just keep our documents in a, what do we call them? Those metal, like, I forgot what they call, drawers and stuff. Often see them in like, on, you know, when you're watching one of these like cop type related either series or movies, you know, old school stuff. And then environmental characteristics, all right, uncertainty. The more uncertainty there is, obviously, the more you have to be up to speed with what's happening currently, okay? And you need knowledge discovery because things are changing. They're not the same constantly. Then affects the suitability of knowledge management processes. Yes, that's what we're discussing. Table 11.1, effects of environmental and organizational characteristics. Let's see, do we have that there? Okay, no. Okay. Okay, so here they're just saying organization size affects knowledge management processes by influencing the choice between two processes supporting knowledge application, okay, and the two processes supporting knowledge sharing. So we spoke about this knowledge sharing. How are we sharing our knowledge? How is it being exchanged and so on? And application, okay. We spoke about it earlier with the routines pertaining to the tasks, but obviously it also plays a role within your organization. Um, right. Okay. So here's a nice table summarizing that. And this is the table that I was hoping was on the previous slide actually. So here you can see if the environmental uncertainty is high or low, what are they then suggesting or recommending for our solution, and so on and so forth. Business strategy, organizational side. Okay, right. So here now they're basically just talking to what we have been looking at in that one table. Okay, so if you read through the table, understand the table, then these points, maybe there's just adding a little bit more meat to it, but you would have covered what they are then addressing. So at this point, I think let's take our 10-minute break. Then when we get back, we'll finish off learning unit 5, and then we'll call it a day. We'll call it a day.